Kaleb Johnson out of Iowa is one of the most exciting prospects in an already loaded running back class, with elite ability after contact and a fantastic ability to play low to the ground and drive through his pads. He could be someone that could really succeed in the NFL if he ends up in the right landing spot. But with some flaws to his game, especially in the receiving game, is this going to be someone who still ends up drafted in the second round? Or will the loaded nature of this class means that he slips down the board? Let's find out all this and more as I go through my thoughts on Kaleb Johnson out of Iowa. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like and a subscribe to support the growth of the channel. But let's get into it. Kaleb Johnson has prototypical size to play the running back position. 6 foot, 225 pounds is genuinely the mark that people say they want to see from a running back, and it's exactly what he currently measures at. And if you look through his career in college, he absolutely broke out in his junior season, finishing with over 1,500 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns. He was the heartbeat of the Iowa offense, who schemed everything around their incredibly talented running back. But this is a fantastic running back class coming into the league, so it's difficult to know whether Johnson ends up as a second rounder and the RB2 or all the way down as the RB5, with a lot of variance between opinions in terms of where people rank those running backs from about 2 to 5. There is a lot to love about Johnson when you watch him on film, but the main thing that shows is that exceptional ability to gain yards after contact. He is a running back that plays very low to the ground and is able to run through his pads in order to allow him to consistently fall forwards and just knock defenders back on their arse. The strengths to his game are fantastic, and he's someone that plays with real physicality, showing that dominant prototypical size, which is really important. A lot of larger running backs don't actually tend to play up to their size, and I think Johnson will be able to not only in college, but when he hits the NFL. Then, he didn't have a single fumble in 2024. With the amount of touches he saw and the amount of yards and touchdowns he gained, that is an incredible stat in isolation. I love the burst and agility from Johnson. He's able to accelerate to his top speed quickly, which is very important in the short game. Then I think he's someone with really great vision and patience, which are attributes that you want to see from a running back, especially someone more physical. He'll decide a hole relatively quickly, hit it with authority, and he's not someone that tends to hesitate when he's decided the lane that he's going on. These are all attributes which should lead him to be able to succeed when he hits the NFL. And I think even though he's played more in a zone scheme in college, he should be able to be very, very scheme versatile when he hits the big leagues. Even though there's so much that I love about Johnson, doesn't mean that there aren't holes to his game. For example, he does have limited top-end long speed. I saw him burst a fair few runs open for an incredible amount of yards, but he can be caught from behind when he breaks that play open. This is something which is going to frustrate teams. If you find yourself in the open field, you're able to play through contact, but a safety or a corner is able to catch up to you and mean that you don't score that touchdown. Then in the receiving game, he does have relatively soft hands, so he can be used in the receiving game, but this isn't someone with a full 3-down skill set. He ran a very limited route tree in college, and I think his hips aren't quite flexible enough to be able to run routes like a wide receiver or be split out wide. It was more often in checkdowns or in the screen game, so I'd love to see him expand on this at the next level. Then, I think the only limitation to his game, which I can't really see him fixing too much, is I think he can miss cutback lanes a little bit. The agility is there, but it's not so much lateral agility. It's agility through contact. I think he's fantastic north-south and has an ability to get upfield quickly with that initial burst. But he's not someone that can see a lane and then cut back using that quick sidestep in order to gain advantage through utilizing a different lane. He's someone that picks a hole, goes to it with power, and normally has success, but it does mean that he can miss cutback opportunities relatively frequently. My playstyle comparison for Johnson is James Conner, an incredibly physical back who has an incredible ability to gain yards after contact and is great at breaking runs open into the open field. someone that can be used in the receiving game, but definitely isn't a passing game specialist. And I think this is a great comparison for him. And if he can be James Conner in the NFL, he will have a long career, with Conner currently having played for about 8 or 9 seasons. In terms of his current draft value, I anticipate him going towards the mid or late second. He's currently being valued as the running back 3 or 4 by Mock Draft Database, by their consensus big boards, very close to Travion Henderson. It'll be interesting with this running back class to see where they end up getting drafted, as to whether teams wait for the next back rather than reaching on that RB2 towards the top of the second round. Then in rookie drafts, it's all going to depend how you value the running back class against the wide receiver class. I can see him going anywhere between the 103 to the 106 in one quarterback leagues, and he can be a cornerstone for your dynasty team for quite some time. In Superflex leagues, I anticipate it depending on how you value Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, as to whether you're willing to take the positional advantage and value of a quarterback ahead of the more sure thing in running backs like Kaleb Johnson. But this is a prospect I absolutely adore. He's fitting in as my running back 3 currently, and he's someone that I think is going to be elite when he hits the NFL. Let me know your thoughts on Kaleb Johnson down below in the comments. Is he your running back 2 in this class, or where does he rank amongst some of the other backs like Amarian Hampton or Travion Henderson? Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next time.